Hi guys, this is George back here with another video and welcome to another top 10 video. I know that I've taken a bit of a break from doing these. I posted a few of these about a month ago. However, literally a few days ago, I decided that I should do another one because, for whatever reason, I completely didn't think about doing a top 10 dark rides video. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. So, of course, I did lots of top 10s about a month ago, and I said in the most recent one that I uploaded that'll probably be the last one for a while. Well, now this will probably be the last one for a while. So this is going to be my top 10 dark rides, and unless I come up with another list over the next few days that I want to do, then this will be the last one. But who knows, maybe I'll come up with some other list that I decide I want to do. Because top 10 dark rides, I don't know why I never thought of it, to be honest. And there are some great dark rides out there. Sometimes you can get a dark ride that's even better than a roller coaster. And that's what I want to talk about today, the best dark rides that I've been on. So, as always with these top 10s, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with me? Have you been on some of these dark rides? Have you not been on some of these dark rides? Would you change them around? Have you been on other dark rides that you would put above these ones that maybe I haven't been on? Let me know what are your favourite dark rides in the comments below. But let's get things started with number 10. So coming in at number 10, we have Scooby-Doo and the Museum of Mysteries at Warner Brothers World, Abu Dhabi. A trackless dark ride that I've experienced a few times now over in Abu Dhabi. One of the newest theme parks over there, one of the biggest indoor theme parks in the world, and it has got an absolutely fantastic trackless dark ride. So of course you start off by going through the queue line, which is this museum, and you go past all these different artefacts from in Scooby-Doo. And of course the story with this ride is the museum is haunted. There's been stuff going on in the museum, weird things have been going on, and you're going in there to help Scooby-Doo go and discover what's been going on in there. So this ride takes you through loads of different scenes. It's a beautifully themed attraction, so much theming everywhere. And what I really like with this ride as well is depending on which ride vehicle you sit in, you get a slightly different experience as well. So it'll dispatch with 3 ride vehicles at a time. If you're in the front, then you go one way, and if you're in the middle, you go another way. So you will get slightly different scenes. It's a similar ride depending on which one you're in. However, there's a few slight differences with different scenes that you'll see. There's loads of different moving effects in there. It's like you'll see one thing and then it'll go dark and the wall spins around and it reveals another scene. Of course you see all these different screens and projections and theming of somebody dressed up as a ghost going around and haunting the museum. And then of course you go through the ride and then you go into this big section towards the end as well that I really like, where all the ride vehicles are going different ways and interacting with each other. There's also an empty one, well I say an empty one, it's got a ghost on it, like a model of a ghost, and that one's coming through and interacting with you. Is like that one goes in front of you and then you go past it through another door, and then another one comes through and past you, and then you kind of all go separate ways, and then you all join back together again to go through into the final section where you set a trap for the ghost to find out who it is. And then of course you set the trap and then you find out at the end who was the one that was causing all of these mysteries going on in the museum. It's a fantastic dark ride that I definitely recommend. Coming in at number 9, we have Shrek's Merry Fairy Tale Adventure at Motion Gate Dubai, another trackless dark ride. This one's not quite as advanced as Scooby-Doo in the Museum of Mysteries when it comes to the actual ride system and how you kind of go off in different directions. There is a bit of that, however, the scenes are pretty much the same on this ride. It's not as if you get slightly different experiences. Pretty much every experience on this ride is going to be very similar, if not the same. But of course it'll start off by dispatching with 2 ride vehicles. It's the same ride system as Scooby-Doo, however, yeah, it's of course just a different ride with a different theme. And basically with this ride, it tells you the story of Shrek. But, of course, that's pretty common for dark rides that have these IPs. You go on a ride and you go through the story of the ride and it tells you the story of the film or whatever IP they're using. But this one is a little bit different. They came up with the idea to show the story of the film through a puppet show. So the idea of this ride is that Shrek and Fiona are presenting a puppet show to their children, and also Donkey and his children, and they're doing a puppet show of how they all met, which is it's really unique and really different, and it's a really nice way of telling the story. Whereas instead of it just being through take a ride through this movie, it's like you're part of the story as well. It's like you're watching the puppet theatre. All the animatronics in there are all different puppets. You can see all the strings coming down from the ceiling, and you see the strings moving as if they're making the puppets move. There's loads of different scenes in there, some screens, loads of different theming in there, loads of different scenes. It's a long ride, and it literally tells tells you the whole story of the film. You could literally have never watched Shrek, go on that ride, and you would understand exactly what's going on. It's not as if they're like with other rides where they tell you the story, and to try and cut the ride down, make it shorter, and they skip bits out. This one, it goes through the whole movie. No part of this film is left untouched with this ride. It's so well themed, it's so well done, to a really high standard. It's a beautiful dark ride that I definitely recommend going to ride. Coming in at number 8, we have the Na'vi River Journey at Disney's Animal Kingdom in Florida. This is a boat ride, and this is an absolutely spectacular dark ride. It's not the longest of rides, however, the theming is absolutely incredible in here. Of course, you sit on the boat and then it takes you through this journey through the world of Avatar, which is absolutely brilliant. You've got all these different plants around, all the banshees that you see. The soundtrack is absolutely incredible on this ride as well. There's so much movement on this ride, and it's so peaceful and relaxing as well. You go through with amazing lighting and amazing scenes. There is no part of this dark ride that is left untouched. There is theming absolutely everywhere. It is absolutely beautiful. And then of course you get to the end of this ride as well, where there's this absolutely amazing animatronic, which is absolutely amazing. The movement of it is spectacular. It literally looks like it could be an actual person moving because of how realistic it is and how well done that animatronic was built. It's an amazing ride. Not the longest of rides, however, the soundtrack, the theming, and everything else about it, the ride system, just all bring it together to create an absolutely beautiful dark ride experience. Coming in at number 7, we have Piraten in Batavia at Europa Park in Germany. So I went on this dark ride a few months ago, and this is actually the remodeled one. Of course, this ride originally opened quite a long time ago at the park. I can't remember when, but of course in 2020 this ride burnt down in a fire. However, the park completely rebuilt it, bringing it to a much more modern standard, but also while keeping that classic look to it as well, and storyline of it and theming. And this ride is absolutely beautiful. The scenes on here, there are so many different scenes, absolutely massive scenes as well. They're so grand and impressive. Each scene you go into, you're looking around, you look up at all these massive theming set pieces and just think, wow, this is absolutely amazing. I don't really understand the story of this ride. This is the one downside of this ride for me. If I understood the storyline, it would definitely be ranked higher. However, I loved just going into all these different scenes and seeing these massive rooms that have been decorated so well with these massive set pieces. As much as it's a massive room, there's a lot of space that would need to be covered up. They did it. There is no blank space on this ride. It is themed everywhere. There's a mix of screens and also theming loads of different effects. It's a boat ride as well. You start off by going down a drop into the first scene, which I really like. It's all completely dark and there's a storm going on, and then you drop down this drop into this massive first scene, which is a great kind of reveal for the start of the ride. And then of course at the end as well, you go through the restaurant as well. There's a section right at the end where you go through the restaurant. So if you're sitting in the restaurant, you can watch the boat ride coming past, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a long ride. You can definitely tell it's been inspired by like Pirates of the Caribbean at the Disney parks, but it's an absolutely stunning dark ride. Coming in at number 6, we have Symbolica at Efteling, another trackless dark ride. This one opened in 2017, and this one, in terms of the ride system, is quite similar to Scooby-Doo and the Museum of Mysteries, where you have 3 different vehicles that get dispatched at a time, and depending on which one you're on, you'll get a slightly different experience. It's just like with Scooby-Doo, where it's not a huge difference on the ride system. In fact, there's probably more of a difference on Scooby-Doo in the ride system, depending on which one you're on, than Symbolica. However, with Symbolica, you've got 3 different tours that you can do. You've got the Treasures Tour, the Heroes Tour, and the Music Tour. Each one slightly different, however, all of the main scenes everyone will go through together. So you start off by going around this corner in the ride, and you go into this massive scene at the start. You've got all the planets hanging down from the ceiling, all the bookshelves, and then you've got Pardus in the middle that kind of waves his wand around and goes, Fantasia! And then all the lights go on and it sparkles everywhere. It's absolutely beautiful. Another one of my favourite scenes in here as well is the one with the whale. So you go into this kind of conservatory area, you've got all the plants around you, and then you spin around to look at this big window, and a massive model whale comes dropping down into the room, and then the window starts cracking and water starts trickling in, and then you go into the next scene. That's one of my favourite sections. Another one as well, the end scene where you go into this kind of big dining room with the king, and the king's there, everyone else is sat at the table, and then Pardoes again does his Fantasia, and all the lights go on and it sparkles, and then you go onto this dance floor and you see all of these animatronics dancing around. It's an absolutely spectacular ride. Of course, with the music tour, you go into a scene towards the middle of the ride where it plays some extra music and you see some musical instruments. The treasure tour, you go into this corner where there's a big diamond that lights up and there's all mirrors surrounding it. And then the heroes tour, you go into a section where there's all these pictures on the wall of all these different heroes and a knight's armour and everything. And then of course you can't all come back together again to go through into the final scene. It's a beautiful ride. It's done to such a high standard, a great storyline. Someone actually commented on my vlog about it with the full story of Symbolica. I was kind of on the way there. It's like the king's invited you for a banquet, and then Pardoes is getting you taking his own secret route through the Palace of Fantasy. It's like you've got these very strict rules that you're supposed to follow, but Pardoes is like, no, I'm not listening to you, and he takes us on his own little tour through the Palace of Fantasy. So I was kind of the way there, a little bit, but it's an absolutely beautiful ride that I absolutely love. I got to ride it lots of times while I was at Efteling. Sticking at Efteling for number 5 then, and coming in at number 5 we have Danse Macabre, a world's first and currently only of its ride system. This is an absolutely spectacular ride. It opened in 2024 and it was the world's first Intamin motion dynamic stage, or dynamic motion stage, and this ride is absolutely beautiful from start to finish. It's a full themed immersive experience. So you start off by entering the queue and you walk through this queue and you go into the graveyard where it tells you a bit of a pre-show. It's all in Dutch, however, so I did find out the story of this ride before I went on it. So the idea with this ride is that in 1876, on Friday the 13th, in this chapel, Joseph Charlatan and his orchestra were all killed in this chapel after a performance of Danse Macabre by the Unnameable. And the Unnameable is the cat that transforms into this monster, and then it killed everyone, killed all the orchestra, and now it keeps their souls captive inside the chapel where they're forced to play Danse Macabre for all eternity, which will lure more people into that same fate. It's like the idea is you'll hear the sweet sound of music and you'll get lured into the chapel where you'll encounter the same fate as Joseph Charlatan and his orchestra. So with this ride, it actually can be quite thrilling. So with this ride system, it can spin round, it can lift up and down. But what I love with this ride, how it starts off quite tame, and like the music starts playing and you spin round, but then gradually as you get further through the ride, the music gets a lot more energetic, it gets a lot louder, and then the ride system drops down and it dips and it gradually reveals more scenes. It's like you're in this big chapel where there's this whole performance of Danse Macabre going on. It's like all the spirits of the orchestra are playing Danse Macabre while you're sat in these choir stalls, and you spin round and then you lift up and drop back down, and at the start of the ride it's like all the lighting goes off and you can hear the cat meowing, and then you hear it transforming into this monster and you see its eyes coming up from underneath all the musical instruments in the middle as well. It's a beautiful ride. It's done to such a high standard. I absolutely loved it to bits when I was there in Efteling. I got to ride it lots of times again, just like with Symbolica. It's an absolutely stunning dark ride that I absolutely love to bits. Coming in at number 4, we have Batman Night Flight at Warner Brothers World, Abu Dhabi. And this is a robo-arm system ride, a KUKA robo-arm system. And this ride is absolutely brilliant. So if you're familiar with Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, this is the same ride system, however, of course, with a Batman theme. This is a Warner Brothers World in Abu Dhabi, and this is an absolutely brilliant dark ride. So of course you start off by getting into your pod, or onto your robo-arm, you pull down your over-the-shoulder restraints, and you then move backwards onto the main ride system, and it spins you up, and you're looking towards the ceiling, and then it spins you into all these different scenes. There's lots of screens on this ride, and also physical sets as well. It's like you go through all of these themed sections, and then you go to the screen dome and it shows you what's going on the screen, and then as you exit the screen you've got all the theming around you as if you've just gone past and you're going through this scene that the screen showed you, and then you're going through all the theming, and then you go to the next screen. The one downside with this ride is the fact that you can see the screen domes before you enter them. With Harry Potter, it literally just puts you straight into the middle of the screen dome. With this one, you can see the screen dome before you get to it, and it's like it gradually puts you in it, but you can see it at the side, and then when you move out of it as well, it's like you can see what's coming up next round the corner into the next screen dome. So that's the one downside of it. However, it's a great story. It's all about how you're going on a hunt for the Joker. He's escaped from Arkham Asylum and you're going to go and hunt for him, basically. So you go through all these different scenes with Batman fighting the Joker, and then you go and find him, and there's a section with Mr. Freeze on there as well where he fires like cold air at you. I really like that section, that bit's really good. And yeah, loads of theming on this ride. It's a long ride, it's absolutely brilliant, and the technology of it is absolutely out of this world. It is the technology of this ride, which is why I rank this so highly. If it was just a standard like tracked ride system or something, it would probably still be on this list. However, it is the ride system because I love how it spins you up and then it flips you back down again, and it spins you looking upwards and then you're looking down and then you're going sideways, and it's a really interesting ride system that is absolutely amazing. Coming in at number 3, we have Indiana Jones Adventure at Disneyland in California. This ride I was absolutely blown away by when I went on it for the first time in 2024. I didn't really know what to expect. I'd heard a lot about the ride system. However, what I didn't realise was how aggressive it actually was. Not only is this an absolutely incredibly well-themed dark ride, but the ride system is amazing. So you start off by going through into the first scene, it spins round, it bounces up and down, it can speed up and slow down. Like there's literally sections where it's like you start to spin round and then it kind of feels like it's launching you. It like launches you forward down a drop in some parts, and then it slows you down again into another scene, and then you start spinning around again. There's all these fire effects that go off going into this temple, which is absolutely amazing. The theming is amazing. It's a long ride. One of my favourite scenes on here is where you stop and then you can see the boulder rolling towards you in the ceiling. You see this massive boulder rolling towards you as if it's going to come crushing over you, but then you launch forward and you drop down what is quite a big drop. You get a bit of airtime there, and with only a seatbelt holding you in again as well, it really throws you around the place. I was not expecting it to be this aggressive. It literally, like, it spins you around, then it throws you upwards and then back down again, then you get some airtime and down and drop, spin round again. It is an absolutely wild ride system. I wasn't expecting it to be that aggressive. It's beautifully themed, a long ride. I was absolutely blown away by it when I first came off it, and I had lots of rides on it while I was in California. An absolutely world-class dark ride. Coming in at number 2, we have Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. So this is the same ride system as Batman Night Flight. I was just talking about that one earlier. However, with this one, I was talking about the problem with Batman Night Flight with the screen domes. This one does it absolutely perfectly. So of course you start off by going through, you're on this conveyor belt load system, and then you start off, it's like there's this magic going on to make you fly, and then you go into all these different scenes. Like there's a section, one of my favourite scenes in there is the Whomping Willow, where you go underneath it and it's like it makes you look upwards at the Whomping Willow. There's a really good section with the dragon on there as well. It's like you look at the screen and it's like you're going for a game of to go to a game of Quidditch, but then you see Hagrid on there, and then you see the dragon coming as well, and you watch the screen for a bit, and then you go out the screen and you go into this kind of like, it looks like a burning like wood section. There's all these wood around you that looks like it's burning, and then you drop down a little bit and you see this massive dragon animatronic in front of you, and it breathes mist at you, which is absolutely fantastic. Another really good section on there is with the Death Eaters as well, I think they're called. I'm not familiar with the Harry Potter films, however I love the ride. But yeah, you come in with all the Death Eaters, and it's like it spins you one way and a Death Eater comes out, and then it spins you another way and another one comes out. It's an amazing ride. A great mix of screens and theming on here. The movement on it is amazing. The ride system, one of these Kuka arm ride system, robo arms again, absolutely amazing technology. I was blown away by it when I first went on it in 2019. I loved it just as much in 2023 when I returned to Florida, and then I also rode it in 2024 at Universal Studios Hollywood as well. They've also got it in Japan and Beijing. I haven't been to those parks. However, it's the same ride as the one in Hollywood and Orlando. It's a spectacular ride, and I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see what they do with this ride system for Monsters Unchained. Same ride system as that one. But this one looks like it's even better. The reviews have been coming in, and it sounds like it's absolutely incredible from the team members, so I can't wait to see what they do with that. I wanted to film this video before Epic Universe opens as well, because I feel like there's going to be 2 dark rides in Epic Universe that are going to absolutely dominate this list. So I thought, let's do this list now, and then maybe I can do an updated one after Epic Universe opens. But for now, number 2 is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. And my number 1 dark ride is Rise of the Resistance at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and also Disneyland in California as well. So the same ride that's at these 2 different parks, and this ride is absolutely spectacular. And it's not just about the ride, it's a full experience. So you start off by going into the first pre-show, where it talks to you a bit about the mission and what you're going to be doing. You then go on to what is pretty much a simulator. It's like you go into this kind of vehicle where you're flying through space, and then you get captured by the First Order. I think they were called the First Order. Again, I'm not familiar with Star Wars, however, I absolutely love this ride. And then you go off into this massive scene where you've got all the stormtroopers kind of all lined up in front of you. An absolutely massive scene. That is one of the most impressive scenes I've ever seen on any ride. Of course, then you get loaded into bays, you board your ride system. It's a trackless dark ride, and again with this one, all the different vehicles interact with each other. It's like they go one way and then they go backwards again and they go back one way. There's a elevator lift on this ride as well. There's a drop track with the simulator section. The theming on here is absolutely amazing. Of course, you're going through and the idea is you don't want to give away the location of the secret base. Like you've got Darth Vader on there that's trying to chase you down and find out the location of the secret base, and all these different scenes keep happening. It's like you're the prisoners and you need to escape. I absolutely love the story for this. There's some amazing effects on this ride. Like one of my favourite scenes is when the doors shut off and then the lightsaber comes through the ceiling and it's cutting a hole through the ceiling, which is amazing. Of course, the simulator section is really good fun as well. There's another section where you go into this massive room where you've got these two massive droids, and then of course that's when you go into the elevator lift. You go into the elevator lift and then it lifts you up and you see all the screens like the stormtroopers are shooting at you, and you see all the lighting effects as if they're still shooting at you as you go around the corner. So much theming on this ride. There is not a single space that's been left untouched of this ride. It was a very expensive ride system. I believe each one cost over $400 million to build, and that's each, and you can really see that with the technology of this ride, the theming, just the full experience that has gone into this. It's an absolutely incredible, immersive experience from start to finish, and just like me, you could have never watched Star Wars before and still go on this ride and be absolutely blown away by it. It is spectacular. If you have not yet ridden it, then definitely make sure you get yourself either to Hollywood Studios in Florida or Disneyland in California to go and ride Rise of the Resistance. So there we go, there is my list of top 10 dark rides. What do you think about my list? Do you agree with me? What are your top dark rides? Let me know. But that's now the end of this video here. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at George Kelly and follow me on Twitter at George Kelly. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe everyone, and I will see you all later. Bye.